Chosen ones, I advise that you listen carefully and pay close attention to this video. I come to you as a harbinger of truth, tasked with breaking the shackles that have long imprisoned you. What if your greatest fear was the very thing holding you back from your destiny? Fear is a powerful force, but it can also be the key to unlocking our true potential. In this video, we will dive into how you can confront and overcome your fears as you walk the path of the chosen one. Together, we will explore practical strategies to transform fear from a barrier into a powerful tool for personal growth and empowerment. For many, fear is seen as an obstacle, something to be avoided or conquered. But for the chosen ones, those who feel a unique sense of purpose, fear often takes on a different role. It becomes intertwined with the very responsibility they carry. The fear of not living up to expectations, of failing in their mission, or of being unworthy of their calling can be overwhelming. This fear often stems from the deep belief that one's purpose is bigger than them, and the weight of this truth can be suffocating. However, it's important to recognize that fear is not inherently bad. In fact, it's a natural part of the human experience, especially when we are stepping into something unknown or challenging. When you are called to something greater, fear often arises as a signal that you are stretching beyond your comfort zone. This is where the growth happens. The key is not to allow this fear to paralyze you, but to see it as a marker that you are on the right path, pushing boundaries and challenging yourself. Fear, when understood in this light, becomes less of an enemy and more of a guide. Understanding the nature of fear is the first step in overcoming it. It's crucial to acknowledge that fear does not define you. It's simply a response to new or unfamiliar situations. As a chosen one, you may face fears that others don't understand, but remember that these fears are a sign of your personal evolution. Embrace the fact that fear will show up on your journey, but it does not have to control your actions or dictate your success. In the face of fear, you can stand tall, knowing that it is merely part of the process of stepping into your true power. The first step to overcoming fear is developing self-awareness. Without understanding the root of your fears, they will continue to control you. Fear often thrives in the darkness of the unconscious mind, feeding off doubts, insecurities, and past traumas. When we shine a light on these fears, however, they lose their power. Becoming self-aware is about taking the time to look inward, identify the fears that are holding you back, and then confronting them head-on. Self-awareness allows you to recognize the patterns of fear that arise. For example, do you feel fear when stepping into new situations, when taking risks, or when faced with criticism? Understanding the triggers of your fear is essential. The more you understand your fear, the less it has control over you. Fear often appears as a protective mechanism, trying to shield us from discomfort or failure. But the truth is, growth happens in discomfort. By embracing self-awareness, you begin to understand that your fears are often exaggerated thoughts or past experiences that no longer serve you. Once you've identified your fears, you can begin to change the narrative around them. Rather than seeing fear as something to be avoided, start viewing it as a natural part of the journey toward greatness. Self-awareness opens up the space for self-compassion. It's important to be gentle with yourself as you confront your fears. Instead of harshly judging yourself for being afraid, acknowledge that fear is simply a part of the process. With self-awareness comes self-acceptance, and this is where real transformation begins. Fear is often seen as a negative force that holds us back. But what if we could shift our mindset and view fear as a source of empowerment? When you change the way you perceive fear, it can become a tool for growth rather than a barrier. Instead of seeing fear as something to be defeated, start viewing it as a signal that you are moving in the right direction. Fear arises when we step into the unknown, and the unknown is where true transformation occurs. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is to stop viewing fear as a roadblock and start seeing it as a signal for action. When fear shows up, it's often because we are on the verge of something new, whether it's a new challenge, opportunity, or personal breakthrough. By reframing fear as an invitation to grow, you can begin to use it as fuel for empowerment. This shift in mindset turns fear into a motivator, a signal to keep going rather than retreating. Reframing fear also involves changing how you perceive failure. Many people fear failure because they see it as a personal reflection of their worth. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the journey. When you learn to see failure as an opportunity to learn and grow, you start to embrace fear instead of fearing it. This mindset shift can be a game changer. Fear becomes something you welcome, something that propels you forward. With this perspective, you can take on challenges with a sense of purpose, knowing that each step, even if imperfect, brings you closer to your destiny. The fear of failure is one of the most common fears faced by those who feel chosen or destined for greatness. It's the fear of not being good enough, of falling short, or of disappointing others. This fear can become paralyzing, preventing individuals from taking action and moving forward with their goals. But here's the truth. Perfectionism and fear of failure often go hand in hand. The desire to avoid failure can make you afraid to try at all. However, the chosen ones understand that failure is an essential part of success. Without failure, there is no growth. It is through failure that we learn, adapt, and ultimately succeed. The key is to change your relationship with failure. Rather than seeing it as a negative experience, reframe it as a stepping stone on your path to greatness. Failure doesn't mean you're not good enough. It means you're trying, you're growing, and you're evolving. The fear of failure often stems from the belief that we must do everything perfectly. But perfectionism is a trap. It keeps us from taking risks, making mistakes, and learning from them. To overcome the fear of failure, it's essential to let go of the need for perfection. Instead, focus on progress. Embrace imperfection and use it as a sign that you're pushing your boundaries and doing things you've never done before. Each failure brings you closer to your true potential, so don't let the fear of making mistakes stop you from moving forward. Resilience is the ability to bounce back after setbacks, and it is one of the most powerful tools for overcoming fear. When you face fear head-on, it's inevitable that you will encounter challenges along the way. These challenges might leave you feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, or defeated, but it is resilience that allows you to keep going, even when things seem impossible. Resilience is built over time, and it grows stronger with every challenge you face. The key to building resilience is to cultivate a mindset of perseverance. This means committing to your journey, no matter how difficult it becomes. It's about refusing to give up when things get tough and learning from each experience. Resilience is not about avoiding difficulties, but about how you handle them when they arise. It's about acknowledging your fears and doubts and continuing to move forward, regardless of them. Building resilience also involves embracing discomfort. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It happens when you push through fear and take risks. Each time you face fear and come out the other side, you become more resilient. The more resilient you become, the less fear will have the power to control your actions. Resilience gives you the strength to face anything that comes your way, knowing that you have the ability to bounce back stronger than before. No one is meant to go through life's challenges alone. Support networks are essential for overcoming fear, especially when you feel that your purpose is greater than yourself. When fear becomes overwhelming, the encouragement, guidance, and understanding of others can be the lifeline you need to keep going. Support networks can take many forms: friends, family, mentors, or like-minded individuals who share your journey. Having a strong support network helps to normalize fear. When you realize that others experience similar struggles, you can begin to feel less isolated and more empowered to face your fears. Supportive individuals can offer perspective, emotional support, and practical advice when fear becomes overwhelming. They can remind you of your strength, your purpose, and your worth when you forget. A support network also provides accountability. When you feel afraid to take action, the encouragement of those who believe in you can give you the push you need. A good support system will not only help you through fear, but will also celebrate your victories with you, reinforcing your confidence and determination. Fear often carries with it an energy that, when channeled correctly, can ignite creativity and drive. Instead of allowing fear to paralyze you, consider it a force that can fuel your most innovative ideas. As a chosen one, you are often called to create something new or to break boundaries, and this responsibility can generate a lot of anxiety. But rather than seeing this anxiety as something to avoid, use it as a powerful motivator. Fear is the body's way of telling you that you are approaching something important. It signifies that you are on the verge of creating or doing something that has the potential to change the world. By harnessing fear, you can turn it into a spark that ignites your creative potential. Think of some of the world's greatest innovators and leaders. They didn't ignore their fear, they used it to fuel their actions. For instance, Steve Jobs was not immune to fear when he pioneered the development of groundbreaking products at Apple, yet he channeled that fear into a relentless drive to innovate. When you learn to transform fear into energy, it no longer holds you back. Instead, it propels you forward, guiding you to take bold steps and make decisions that align with your mission. Fear also forces you to confront the unknown, which is a critical aspect of creativity. The unknown is where all new ideas come from. When you face it, you allow yourself to push past conventional thinking and explore new possibilities. Every time you feel fear, ask yourself, what would happen if I used this energy to fuel my creativity instead of letting it stop me? This shift in perspective can turn your fear into a driving force for bringing your ideas to life. For those who feel chosen for a greater purpose, fear often takes on a spiritual dimension. Fear isn't just an emotional response. It can be a reflection of deeper spiritual growth. As you step into your purpose, you may encounter resistance from within, including fears of inadequacy or fears of stepping into the unknown. However, it is often in the spiritual journey where these fears have the most profound lessons to teach. The key is to view fear not as something to eliminate, but as an integral part of your spiritual awakening. Each fear you face can become an opportunity for deep spiritual growth, as it forces you to confront the parts of yourself that are holding you back. These fears are often rooted in limiting beliefs or past experiences that no longer serve you. When you begin to recognize this, you can use your spiritual practices like meditation, prayer, or mindfulness to release these old fears and embrace the new, more expansive version of yourself. In the spiritual realm, fear often signals a transformation in consciousness. It's a sign that you are about to expand into a new level of awareness or understanding. As you face these fears, you may experience a sense of divine guidance or support that encourages you to keep moving forward. The deeper you go into your spiritual journey, the more you will realize that fear is not something to avoid, but something to understand and integrate. Each step taken in faith, despite fear, is a step toward spiritual enlightenment and personal empowerment. By transforming fear into spiritual fuel, you unlock not only your potential, but also a deeper connection to your higher self and the universe. Fear is a natural part of the journey, especially when you are called to something greater. As a chosen one, the fear you face is not a sign of weakness, but a sign that you are stepping into your true potential. By understanding fear, shifting your mindset, and embracing imperfection, you can overcome the obstacles that stand in your way. Resilience, supportive networks, and a willingness to face failure will transform fear into an ally, guiding you forward on your path to greatness. The journey of the chosen one is not without fear, but it is through overcoming that fear that true empowerment arises.